He lived in a world of quiet, a world where the only sounds were the rustling of leaves, the distant call of a bird, and the gentle whisper of the wind. Each day was the same, a comforting rhythm of solitude. He found peace in the predictability and the gentle cadence of his daily routine. He woke before the sun, the silence his only companion. The early morning light painted the world in soft hues, a quiet promise of the day to come. His days were spent in quiet contemplation, reading, writing, walking amidst nature's quiet grandeur. Each activity was a meditation, a way to connect with the world around him. He savoured his meals, simple affairs eaten in the quiet of his small kitchen. The flavours were more vivid, the experience more profound in the absence of distraction. The evenings brought the solace of a crackling fire. The only sound, the soft whisper of turning pages. It was a time for reflection, for losing himself in the stories of others. In the beginning, the silence was a balm, a refuge from the noise of the world. Over time it became more than that. It became a way of life, a sanctuary where he could truly be himself. But slowly, subtly, the silence began to shift. It was no longer a comfort, but an oppressive presence. The shadows in his home seemed to deepen, taking on strange shapes in the corners of his vision. He started to hear whispers when there was no one there, fleeting sounds that vanished as quickly as they came. His dreams became vivid, filled with faceless figures and echoing voices. He would wake in the night, his heart pounding, the silence pressing down on him like a weight. The isolation began to take its toll. His thoughts, once clear and focused, became tangled and dark. He found himself replaying old conversations in his head, arguing with imagined adversaries. The line between reality and imagination blurred. He was trapped in a labyrinth of his own making, the walls closing in with every passing day. The silence that had once been a sanctuary was now a prison, amplifying the echoes of his own fears and insecurities. Section 4. Light and Shadow. He struggled against the encroaching darkness, clinging to the memory of sunlight on his skin, the sound of laughter. He tried to recall the feeling of connection, the warmth of another's touch. But the memories were fading, like stars in the dawning light. He was caught between the allure of solitude and the primal need for connection. He craved the solace of silence, but feared the shadows it held. The battle raged within him, a tug-of-war between hope and despair. Section 5. A Glimmer in the Darkness. One day, a single bird landed on his windowsill, its feathers glistening in the morning light. It was a small, seemingly insignificant moment, but it caught his attention. The bird's bright eyes peered in, curious and unafraid, as if it had a message to deliver. He watched it for a long moment, mesmerized by its simple beauty. The world outside seemed to pause, and for the first time in a long while, he felt a connection to something beyond his own thoughts. And in that instant, something shifted within him. It was as if a door had opened, allowing a fresh breeze to sweep through his mind. The silence wasn't an enemy, he realized, but a canvas, a blank slate waiting to be filled with the colors and sounds of life. He had the power to fill it with whatever he chose, with music that could lift the spirit, with words that could inspire, with art that could transform, with music, with color, with the vibrancy of creativity that had been dormant for so long, and with the sound of another's voice, the warmth of human connection that he had almost forgotten. The realization was a lifeline, a beacon of light guiding him out of the shadows of his own mind. It was a glimmer of hope in the encroaching darkness, a reminder that even in the bleakest moments there is always a spark waiting to ignite. Section 6. The Urgency of Connection. He knew then that he could not remain in the shadows. The darkness had been a place of comfort, a refuge from the chaos of the world, but it was also a prison. It was a place where dreams withered and hope faded. He realized that to truly live, he had to step into the light. He had to seek the light, to break free from the confines of his self-imposed isolation. The journey was not easy. It was fraught with fear and uncertainty. But with each step he took towards the light, he felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The world seemed brighter, more vibrant and full of possibilities. He reached out, tentatively at first, then with growing urgency. The first call was the hardest, his voice trembling as he spoke. But as he continued to reach out, he found that people were more receptive than he had imagined. They welcomed him with open arms, their warmth melting the ice that had encased his heart. He reconnected with old friends, rekindling relationships that had long been neglected. Each reunion was a balm to his soul, a reminder that he was not alone in this world. The laughter they shared was like music, filling the empty spaces within him. He joined a local book club, immersing himself in the stories and lives of others. The discussions were lively, the debates passionate. He found joy in the simple act of sharing ideas, of being part of a community that valued his thoughts and opinions. He volunteered at a nearby shelter, giving his time and energy to those in need. The work was hard, but it was also rewarding. He saw the impact of his efforts in the smiles of those he helped, in the gratitude in their eyes. It gave his life a new sense of purpose. With each interaction, each shared smile, he felt the walls of his isolation crumble a little more. The connections he made were like lifelines, pulling him out of the abyss and into the light. He realized that human connection was not just a luxury, but a necessity for survival. He had journeyed to the edge of the abyss and emerged, forever changed. The experience had taught him the value of connection, the importance of reaching out and being there for others. It had shown him that even in the darkest times, there is always a way back to the light. With a profound understanding of the fragility of the human spirit and the fundamental need for human connection, he stood at the edge of the world, looking out at the horizon. He knew that the journey was far from over, but he was no longer afraid. He had found his way back to the light, and he was ready to face whatever came next.